Let's walk through how to install the Angel CMS. I have a folder called var-virt where I install all of my Laravel applications, and each application gets its own virtual host and domain, for instance, angel.app and jacob.app. Let's go ahead and make a test.app application. So the first step is to install the Laravel framework itself. The CMS depends on Laravel 4.1, so if I open up the Angel's GitHub and then come down to the installation instructions, I can copy out this composer create project command for Laravel 4.1. And this will go ahead and create the project inside the folder of the same name. And it'll create the folder for you as well. So I'm just going to replace that project's name placeholder with test. And I'll go ahead and run that. And as soon as that command finishes, you'll see that Composer has gone ahead and created this test folder with Laravel 4.1 already installed inside of there for you. And then I just need to go ahead and serve that folder with Apache in my case. And then what I've done there, if I go into sites enabled, is I've created this test.app. I have a script that automatically generates these for me. And so this folder, this var-virt test public folder, is going to be served at test.app now. And so the last step, I believe, well, I think need to fix my permissions here, and I have a little script that does that. And if you need to see that, that is this fix command here. And I'm just owning and making sure that I actually own those folders and that I 664 all of the files and 775 all of the directories. And so now that I've fixed those permissions, I just need to go into my hosts file and make sure that it's aware of where to point this domain. And I need to make sure that I sudo this to point to test.app. And then if I go to test.app in my browser, there's the Laravel arrived page. Now that Laravel's installed, I'm going to go ahead and open up this test folder in PHP Storm here. Okay, and moving right along, if I come back to the GitHub page, you can see that it wants us to add the Angel core package requirement to the composer.json file. So if I go ahead and open up that composer.json file and copy out this Angel core dependency, we can add it to the require object here. And then once that's been done, I can open up the console again. And now we're going to issue a composer update. So that composer update command went ahead and installed the Angel core here, CMS, so we can proceed along with these installation instructions. So I can go ahead and add this to the providers array in app config. So app config app.php, and the providers array. While I'm in here, I'm going to go ahead and change debug to true. And I usually keep that as true until I'm done with development. And I'll come down to this providers array. I think I just passed it. And we'll go ahead and add that Angel core service provider. Now I can delete all of the default routes in routes.php. And we'll just replace that with a // there. And all of the default filters, except for the CSRF filter, we can just leave that guy in there. And then in app controllers, Angel takes care of all the routes and filters and all of that good stuff. We can delete this home controller and this git keep file. We only need the base controller in case we want to add anything to the class that all of the other controllers in the system extend. So we keep that base controller. The framework does use that. And then in app models, I'm going to go ahead and create a new file, a git keep file, because we are going to actually go ahead and delete this user model because the Angel framework does have its own user model as well. Now that we've stripped out all of those default classes that Angel takes care of for us, we can go ahead and create a database here. So I'll just use MySQL, and I'll do a create database testDB. And once we have that, I'll come into app config database.php, and I usually just go ahead and delete the drivers I'm not using, and then in here I'll put in that testDB, and then once we've done that, we can issue these following artisan commands. To dump autoload, to make sure that all of the classes are set up and it's aware of the autoloads. We'll do the asset publishing. We'll publish the configuration. We'll run those migrations on the database that we just created. Those are the Angel core migrations. And then I'm going to make the Casey Finder, which is the file browser. We're going to make the folder for that. And we're going to add a git keep to it just to make sure that that sticks around. And that's all there is to it. If I open up a new browser tab here and type test.app, we'll now see the CMS here. And if you'd like, then you could click on this link to dig into the users module in the admin panel here. And if I sign in with the default credentials, AV admin and password, then it brings us right to the edit user page for the super admin that we just logged in as. And we can go ahead and change their password to something more secure. And you can also get there if you just go to the admin panel and click on the users tab up here. You can click edit on the super admin to get to that page as well. And then if you can see, if I go to admin, if I sign out and go to admin, you can actually change this admin URL if you'd like. When we publish that configuration for the package, if you dig into config packages angel core config.php, you can actually change this prefix. So if we wanted to call it like backdoor, for instance, if I come back here and refresh, this will 404, that page 404 is for us. And I can change this admin to backdoor now. And that's how you would access the administrative panel if you change that prefix. And that's a good idea to do because oftentimes admin is such a common prefix that a lot of hackers really target websites that have that URL, and it's best to change that to something a little more less common. I usually then like to go ahead and change the theme for the administrative panel here to something not quite so bright. I prefer these dark themes. And then as far as customizing the actual front end, I think that's the next step, and we'll go ahead and save that for the next video. We'll go ahead and change this out and maybe play around with some menus and some other customizations or installing some modules. So stay tuned. Feel free to subscribe if you'd like to see those videos, and good luck on all your projects.